In April 2026, a biotech company that already brought back an extinct species announced its next target, an animal hunted to extinction over 200 years ago, one most people have never even heard of. No headlines, no viral tweets, almost nobody talking about it. But before I tell you what it is and how they're doing it, you need to understand something. This isn't the first time science has tried this. Some attempts worked, some failed completely, and the story of the one nobody's talking about right now might be the most important one yet. Stay until the end, because the last name on this list is the one making headlines this year. Number 6, the Aurochs. This massive wild ox was the ancestor of every cow on Earth today, standing over 6 feet tall at the shoulder, with horns capable of goring a wolf pack in seconds. Once it roamed across Europe, Asia, and North Africa in enormous herds. But farming spread, forests fell, and hunters chased it into smaller and smaller pockets of wilderness. The very last aurochs on the planet, a lone female, died in Poland's Jacktor forest in 1627, the first large mammal extinction ever documented with a known exact date. In the 1920s, German scientists tried to recreate it through selective breeding, but the result looked similar and carried none of the real genetics. Today, a European program called the Tauros program is trying again. Breeding primitive cattle breeds back toward the aurochs' original DNA, releasing the results into wild rewilding reserves across the Netherlands and Eastern Europe. It's not the real aurochs, but some scientists believe it's the closest anything has ever come. Number 5. The Heath Hen. This ground-dwelling bird once darkened the skies of the American Northeast in flocks so massive that colonial records describe them as a nuisance, cheap enough that servants complained about being fed it too often. Habitat loss and relentless hunting crushed the population fast. By 1870, only one flock remained, isolated on Martha's Vineyard. Conservationists actually succeeded in growing that flock back to nearly 2,000 birds by 1916, a genuine comeback. Then a wildfire, a brutal winter, and a poultry disease hit in the same few years. The population collapsed to just a handful of survivors, all closely related, and inbreeding finished what disaster started. The last Heath Hen, a lone male nicknamed Booming Ben, was seen calling for a mate that would never come, every spring until 1932. His story is the reason scientists now believe you can't always save a species by just protecting the last few. Sometimes the genetics themselves are already too far gone to survive alone. Number 4. The Quagga. Related to the zebra but strikingly different, stripes only across its front half fading into plain brown at the rear, the quagga once roamed the grasslands of South Africa in vast herds. Dutch colonists hunted it aggressively for meat, hides, and to clear grazing land for livestock. The very last quagga died alone in an Amsterdam zoo in 1883, and for over a century. Nobody even knew for certain whether it was a distinct species or just an unusual zebra. In 1987, South African scientist Reinhold Rau started the Quagga project, selectively breeding plain zebras that carried reduced striping, generation after generation, chasing the quagga's exact appearance and genetics back into existence. Decades later, some of the resulting foals are almost indistinguishable from the animal that died out in 1883. It's the longest-running de-extinction project in the world, and it's happening in exactly the same region as the story we're building to. Number 3. The dire wolf. Larger and more powerful than any wolf alive today, this Ice Age predator hunted in packs across the Americas until it disappeared around 13,000 years ago, alongside most of the giant mammals it depended on for food. For decades, dire wolves existed only in fossils and in pop culture as fictional monsters. Then, in April 2025, Colossal Biosciences announced something that stunned the scientific world. 3 genetically modified wolf pups, born using DNA extracted from a 13,000-year-old tooth and a 72,000-year-old ear bone, edited into the genome of a modern grey wolf. They named them Romulus, Remus, and Khaleesi. Colossal's own chief scientist was careful to clarify, these are grey wolves with about 20 edits, not a perfect resurrection. But it proved something that had never been proven before, that extinct DNA could be brought back into a living, breathing animal. Number 2. The Woolly Mammoth. The most famous extinct animal on Earth, and the one everyone assumes de-extinction is really about. Colossal Biosciences, the same company behind the direwolf, has been engineering Asian elephant embryos with mammoth traits stitched in from preserved permafrost DNA, the shaggy coat, the layer of fat, the cold tolerance. Their own CEO has said publicly that a living mammoth calf could be born within just 2 years. If that timeline holds, a version of an animal that vanished roughly 4. 000 years ago could be standing in front of cameras before this decade ends. But here's what almost nobody realized while all of that made headlines. The same company was quietly working on something else entirely. Something with no press conference, no media tour, and almost no coverage at all. Number 1. The Bluebuck. A striking blue-gray antelope, roughly the size of a small horse, that once grazed the Finbo's shrublands of South Africa's Cape region in small, scattered herds. It was already rare by the time European settlers arrived. Some researchers believe its population had never recovered from changes at the end of the last ice age. Colonial hunting finished the job. The last confirmed bluebuck was shot sometime around 1800, making it the first large African mammal driven extinct in recorded history, decades before photography even existed to document it. For over 2 centuries, it survived only as a handful of museum skins and horns in European collections. Then, in April 2026, Colossal Biosciences quietly confirmed they had begun sequencing the bluebuck's genome from preserved museum specimens, with plans to edit its closest living relative back toward its original form, the same way they rebuilt the dire wolf from a grey wolf. If it works, the bluebuck wouldn't just be brought back. It would be released into the exact same Finbo's landscape it vanished from 200 years ago. Almost nobody is talking about this yet. You just did. So here's the real question. If science keeps succeeding at this, one animal at a time, where does it stop? Which extinction would you undo first if you could only pick one? Tell me in the comments, and subscribe, because the list of animals coming back is only getting longer from here.